3 days before my best friend tried to destroy my reputation, he asked me for advice. That's what makes this story disturbing. Because when someone attacks you loudly, it's simple. When they smile while planning it, that's different. We had been friends for 5 years. Same school. Same circle. Same jokes. The kind of friendship where you don't lock your phone around each other. The kind where you think loyalty is automatic. I was wrong. It started small. He began asking strange questions. What would you do if people found out your biggest mistake? What's the one thing you'd never want getting out? At the time, I thought it was just random late-night conversation. We were talking about reputation, mistakes, growing up. I answered honestly. I told him about something embarrassing from my past. Not illegal. Not terrible. Just something that could be misunderstood if framed the wrong way. He nodded. Said, "Relax. Everyone has something." That should have been the end of it. But 2 weeks later, things changed. People started looking at me differently. Not openly hostile. Just cautious. Conversations would pause when I walked up. Group chats felt colder. Replies got shorter. No one said anything directly. That's the worst part about reputation damage. It doesn't explode. It spreads. Then one afternoon, a mutual friend pulled me aside. "Hey, is it true?" That question. Those 4 words. I asked, "Is what true?" He hesitated. Then he repeated the exact story I had told my best friend, but twisted. In his version, I didn't make a mistake. I did it intentionally. I wasn't embarrassed. I was manipulative. Same facts. Different framing. And suddenly, I looked like a completely different person. My chest felt tight, but I stayed calm. "Who told you that?" I asked. He avoided eye contact. "Does it matter?" Yes. It mattered. Because information doesn't teleport. It travels. And it only travels through someone who carries it. That night, I didn't confront him. I didn't send angry messages. I didn't defend myself publicly. I did something smarter. I ran a test. The next evening, I told him something new. Completely fake. I said I was secretly planning to move schools because I couldn't stand the fake people around me anymore. I made it emotional. Detailed. Convincing. He reacted exactly how I expected. "Bro, that's crazy. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Supportive. Concerned. Perfectly composed. 48 hours later, someone asked me, "So you're leaving because you hate everyone?" There it was. Confirmation. No screenshots. No dramatic exposure. Just a pattern. Information from me. To him. To everyone. I felt 2 things at once. Anger. And clarity. Now I had leverage. But I needed proof. So I repeated the experiment. This time, I slightly changed the fake story. Added a different detail. A different emotional tone. Again, within 2 days, the altered version spread. Matching exactly what I told him. Same structure. Same wording. Different content. The variable wasn't the story. It was him. At that point, I wasn't guessing. I was documenting. Dates. Times. Who approached me. What version they heard. And something else became obvious. He wasn't attacking me directly. He was positioning himself as concerned. He would tell people, "I'm worried about him. He's not thinking clearly. I don't know what's going on with him lately." He wasn't framing me as evil. He was framing me as unstable. And that's more dangerous. Because when someone calls you a villain, people question it. When someone calls you confused or emotional, they sympathize with them. Not you. So I stopped reacting completely. No defending myself. No emotional responses. Silence. And silence is uncomfortable for manipulators. Without visible panic, his narrative had nothing to feed on. Then I set the final move. I invited 3 people from the group, the most neutral ones, to hang out. No drama. No accusations. Just a conversation. I asked them something simple. If I was acting strange, would you tell me? They exchanged looks. That hesitation told me everything. So I calmly explained the experiment. The fake stories. The timeline. The repeated leaks. No shouting. No insults. Just logic. One of them immediately checked his messages. The timestamps lined up. Another admitted he'd heard multiple concerns from him over the past month. Concerns that sounded suspiciously like my private conversations. The shift in the room was quiet. But powerful. You could see it in their faces. The moment realization replaces doubt. I didn't need to attack him. The pattern did it for me. When he found out we had talked, he confronted me. Not aggressively. Almost impressed. So you tested me? I looked at him and said. No. I verified you. That silence after that sentence lasted longer than any argument could. He tried to defend himself. Said he was just venting. Said he didn't mean it like that. But intent doesn't erase repetition. And repetition creates truth. Within a week, the dynamic flipped. The same people who were distant started asking me directly instead of relying on second-hand information. He lost credibility quietly. Exactly the way he tried to make me lose mine. Here's what I learned from that experience. The most dangerous attacks on your reputation won't come from enemies. They'll come from people close enough to gather data. Close enough to understand your weaknesses. Close enough to distort you convincingly. Reputation isn't destroyed by one big lie. It's weakened by small reframes. Tiny adjustments. Subtle implications. And the scariest part? If I had reacted emotionally at the beginning, I would have confirmed his narrative. Anger would have made me look unstable. Defensiveness would have made me look guilty. Silence exposed him. Patience revealed the pattern. And patterns never lie. After that, I changed one rule in my life. I stopped giving unlimited access to my vulnerabilities. Not because I became cold, but because access is power. And not everyone who asks personal questions deserves strategic information. Trust is not about how long you've known someone. It's about how they behave when holding something that could damage you. Years later, I don't hate him. I don't even think about him much. But I remember the lesson clearly. Watch who benefits from a distorted version of you. Watch who positions themselves as the translator of your intentions. And most importantly, if information keeps leaking, don't argue. Test the system. Because when truth repeats under controlled conditions, manipulation collapses. Quietly. Just like it began.